In this video, I want to show you how to tell the difference between when to use the Gauss's method for finding the sum of a sequence and when to use Euclid's method for finding the sum of a sequence. Now, we have a listing of terms here, and this is actually a sum of an infinite series because it continues on. Same here, it continues on. There's no number after here. But there are two types of series that we refer to in math. There's one called the arithmetic series, which means there is a common difference between terms, meaning they would go up or down by a specific value, whether it's by addition or by subtraction, to get from one term to the next. There is also what is called a geometric series, where a term may increase or decrease by what is called a common ratio, which means you would multiply the previous term by a number to get to the next term, and you would keep going. Each successive term you would multiply by the same number. Okay, so one of these series is considered an arithmetic sequence. One of these is considered a geometric sequence. And so I want to look at the first series here and see how much it goes up by addition. In this case, it's going up, right? And so I want to see how much it has to go up by. In this case, from 1 to 4, I have to add 3 units to get from 1 to 4. But I can't add 3 units to get to the next term because 4 plus 3 is 7. I have to add actually 12 to get to 16. So I'm already noticing there's a break in the pattern here. I'm not adding 3 each time. I started off with 3, and now I'm adding 12. To get from 16 to 64, I have to add 48. So this does not look like an arithmetic series where the terms go up by a common difference, or you're adding by a certain value. But let's see what would happen if I were to take the first term and multiply it by a number to get to the following term, the successive term. Here, I would have to multiply by 4 to get from the first term to the second term, and it looks like I can do it again to get from the second term to the third term, and it looks like one more time I can do it again by multiplying by 4. So this is what we call a geometric series, where it has a common or a constant ratio. Constant ratio, which is the value, in this case, 4. Now there's going to be different ratios, different constant ratios for different series, but you need to be able to tell as it goes up, is it by a common difference or by a common ratio or a constant ratio? All right. Now if I look at the next series here, I can try to see how much it goes up by from one term to the next in the series. Here it seems like it goes up by 2, so by adding 2. Same to go from 3 to 5, and then to go from 5 to 7. Now in that case, this would be a constant difference. And that value is the number 2, at least in this series. So we have a series where we have to multiply by the same number to get from one term to the next. Or we have another series where we add by one number to get to the next. The same number again, we add, and that's how the pattern works. Now in terms of which method to use, it really comes down to whether you have a series that has a constant difference or a constant ratio. In the definitions, it actually gives you the key to finding out which method to use. In the definition of the Gauss method, it's a method on how to find the sum of a sequence with a constant difference. And so the Gauss's method would be used here, which you've already been introduced to. And then for this one, since there is a constant ratio, that actually would fit more in line with Euclid's method. So this video is just more of comparing methods in terms of knowing which one to use in order to find a sum of a specific series. Right? No matter what happens here, I'd have to add them up to get a value somehow. Currently, I could put a plus another number, a later number, and I could use Euclid's method to get the answer to it. And the same thing over here. I could put a plus another number, and so that you would see that I could use Gauss's method to find the answer. But this video is strictly to show you which method you can use, and you have to pay attention to whether the series is going up by adding a certain amount or down by a certain amount, and whether the series is going up by multiplying by a certain amount as you go across each time, to determine whether you have a constant difference or if you have a constant ratio. And so when we're talking about constant difference, we're going to use Gauss's method. If we have a constant ratio in the series, we're going to use Euclid's method. So I hope that explains knowing which method to use, and you'll see some series where you'll have to determine that. So I hope that's helpful.